Okay, good morning. So in the last class we were discussing about the basics of electronics, that is semiconductor physics, which includes what semiconductors, different type of semiconductors, p-n junction, diodes, etc. Today we will discuss about rectifiers. So the diodes can be used as rectifiers. So what are rectifiers? Rectifiers are devices which converts AC current or alternating current to direct current. So usually the power supply available is in the form of AC supply. So this can be used for lighting, heating, and the working of electric motors, etc. But in life there are many other situations or many applications like that is in electronic circuits where DC supply is needed. So we need to convert the AC supply into DC supply as we require. So this can be done by rectification process, and for this we use crystal diodes. Okay, so the rectifier circuits can be of two type, or it can be used as half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. So rectifier is a device which converts AC supply into DC supply or alternating current to direct current, and it can be done as half wave rectification and full wave rectification, and accordingly it can be called as half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. So first we will discuss about half wave rectifier. So what is half wave rectifier? The word itself give you a hint about half wave rectifier. So this is the circuit diagram of half wave rectifier. Here is the input AC supply source, and which is given to the diode through a transformer. The use of transformer has mainly two functions. One is to protect the diode or the circuit from electrical shock or shortage or something like that from the power supply, input power from the main supply. So this transformer protects the circuit, and the second function is it can be used for either to step up or step down the input power supply according to our need. So these are the two functions of transformer used in this circuit, and this diode is connected to a resistance which is marked as RL, that is load resistance, across which we can measure the output voltage, and across this terminal, this point A and B, we can measure the input voltage, and the current flow through the circuit is marked as I. So this is a circuit diagram of a half wave rectifier. So what happens in this circuit? So whenever the power is on, the input is in the form of this cycle, that is AC cycle. Alternating current has positive polarity and negative polarity. So one complete cycle means from this point to this point. So one complete cycle include this positive half cycle and negative half cycle. So this constitute one complete cycle of AC current, one single frequency AC. So when this power supply is on, during the positive half cycle, the positive half cycle comes to this positive, the bar head of this diode and then positive come to the positive come to this bar head, so that the diode becomes forward biased, and at that stage the diode becomes conducting, and current flowing through the circuit. This current flowing through this load resistance produces a voltage drop across this resistance, where we can measure the output voltage. So for this positive half cycle, we get an output current like this, output voltage like this. Okay, and what happens during the negative half cycle? During the negative half cycle, when negative half cycle comes, its polarity becomes negative, so that the diode becomes reverse biased, and during reverse biased condition, this diode does not conduct and no current flows through the circuit, so no voltage drop across this load resistance. So for the negative half cycle, the current is 0. So this region, no current. This region corresponds to the negative half cycle, and no voltage drop across this load resistance. Voltage is also 0. And again the next positive half cycle comes. Again the diode becomes forward bias, and it conducts, it produces current and voltage, and we will get current and voltage at the output. And during the negative half cycle, again 0. Okay, so this continues also. So we get an output at the across the load resistance during every positive half cycle, and 0 current and voltage for every negative half cycle. This is accordingly as the diode becomes forward biased and negative biased during the positive and negative half cycles respectively. So a pulsating DC current is obtained at the output, that is, no negative polarity cycles appears in this output current. That means it is only single polarity. It shows single polarity in direction. So this is a direct current but with pulsation. So this is pulsating DC. So this pulsation in the output can be or need to be smoothened or can be smoothened with the help of filter circuits, which will be discussed later. And this is the main disadvantage of this half wave rectifier, that is, a pulsating current is the output, that is, the AC supply delivers a power only half the time. This is one disadvantage, which means the output is low. And the second one is the pulsating current in the load contains alternating component whose basic frequency is equal to the supply frequency. Therefore, elaborate filtering is required to produce steady state current. So pulsating DC is one disadvantage, and only half of the input supply is rectified or delivers the output. So these two are the main disadvantages of the half wave rectifier. Okay, that's why the name half wave rectifier, that is only for the half cycle of input we get output at the end. That's why half wave rectifier. So this is about half wave rectifier. So we have explained the circuit diagram and its working and the output and its disadvantages also. Now we will discuss about the efficiency of this half wave rectifier. So how much efficient the half wave rectifier is? So it can be measured by finding out the ratio of the DC power output to the input AC power, because we are getting DC at the output and we are supplying AC at the input. So the ratio of this power of DC at the output to the power of AC at the input will give you the rectifier efficiency, which represented by the symbol eta. So let's look at this circuit diagram. So this is the input AC supply, this is the transformer, and let V is equal to Vm sin theta be the input voltage, where Vm is the amplitude of this AC input signal and theta is its phase. Let I be the current flowing through the circuit and RL be the load resistance, and let RF, small r suffix f, RF be the diode resistance. And for every positive half cycles we get a current at the output, and for negative half cycles no current at the output. Okay, so this is shown in the figure, and we need to calculate the DC power and AC power in order to calculate the rectifier efficiency. Okay, so the DC power, we are going to calculate the DC power. The output current is pulsating DC current. Okay, therefore in order to find DC power, average current has to be found out. So the direct current is pulsating, that direct current at the output is pulsating in nature, so we need to find out the average of this current. So I average is IDC, that is direct current, so which is equal to 1 by 2 pi into integral over 0 to pi I d theta. 0 to pi means 0 to 180 degree, that is half cycle. Full cycle means 0 to 2 pi, that is 0 to 360 degree. So here we are getting output for only half cycle, so we can take this integral as 0 to pi and I d theta. This is over a complete cycle, that is for a complete cycle we are getting only half of the input current getting converted into DC. So so the average current can be obtained by 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to pi I d theta. And for I d theta we can, I is equal to V by R, current according to Ohm's law. So I can be replaced by V by R. Here V is equal to Vm sin theta. Okay, and R is the total resistance of the circuit, that is RF plus RL. So we can replace this I by Vm sin theta by RF plus RL and d theta. Okay, and the integration is with respect to theta, so we can take the other terms which not including theta outside the integral. So Vm by 2 pi is already outside the integration, so Vm by 2 pi into RF plus RL outside, RF plus RL into integral of 0 to pi sin theta d theta. Okay, now integrate this term. So integral of sin theta is minus cos theta, and the integration varies from 0 to pi. So this term is the this term, and minus cos theta 0 to pi. So when we are applying the limit, we will get minus sin minus cos pi minus of minus cos 0, which will give you 2, that is you can write it on a paper. Cos pi is equal to minus 1 and cos 0 is equal to 1, and which will give you 2. So this 2 appears, so, and this 2 and this 2 will cancel out each other, and the remaining term is Vm by RF plus RL into 1 by pi. Okay, so this Vm by RF plus RL is nothing but Im. Okay, we can represent this as Im, since Vm is the amplitude of the input AC supply, and Vm by Rf plus RL can be represented as Im, the maximum current. Okay, so this is Im by pi. So the DC power is power can be represented by either V into I or I square R. So here the power, DC power, can be represented as I square into RL. Okay, so I square is Im by pi whole square into RL. So this term is the DC power at the output. Okay, Im by pi whole square into RL. Now we need to calculate AC power input. So the AC power input can be given by I RMS square into Rf plus RL. That is power has a general formula as I square R. Here I square is the root mean square value of the current, because we have AC current at the input. So the root mean square value of current is taken. So I RMS square into the resistance is the sum of the diode resistance plus load resistance, Rf plus RL. For half wave rectified wave, IRMS is nothing but Im by 2. So the power, AC power is equal to Im by 2 whole square. Instead of IRMS, we are substituting Im by 2. Im by 2 whole square into Rf plus RL. So we have got the two terms, DC power and AC power. So the rectifier efficiency is equal to DC output power to AC input power, which is nothing but Im by pi whole square into RL divided by Im by 2 whole square into Rf plus RL. Okay, by rearranging the terms and cancelling out the terms which are common to this numerator and denominator, we will end up with, you can write it down in paper and check whether you are getting this. We will get 0.406 RL divided by Rf plus RL. So we can write it in the form like this. From this, the efficiency will be maximum if Rf is negligible as compared to RL. That means this will be maximum when the numerator is 1, that is, this is very small. This is very small means this factor is very small. So this will become 1 plus this factor, and so the efficiency will become maximum. Okay. This is nothing but just a common mathematics division rule. Therefore, maximum rectifier efficiency we obtained is 40.6. From this, the maximum rectifier efficiency can be 40.6%. This shows that in half wave rectification, a maximum of 40.6% of AC power is converted into DC power. So we have calculated the AC power, the efficiency of the rectifier circuit, and which gives you a value of 40.6%, which means only 40.6% of the input AC is converted into DC at the output. Okay, so this is about the efficiency of half wave rectifier. Now we need to calculate the ripple factor. Okay, we can calculate the ripple factor of this circuit. So ripple factor means the output, we are getting we are getting the output in the form of pulses, that is rippled DC or pulsating DC. We are getting pulsating DC at the output, that is ripples. This is the ripples appears at the output. Okay, so the output of the rectifier consists of DC component and AC component, which is known as ripple. The AC component is undesirable and accounts for the pulsations in the rectifier output. The effectiveness of rectifier depends upon the magnitude of AC component in the output. The smaller this component, the more effective is the rectifier. That is the point. That is, if the ripple factor is low, means less pulsating the output current means more efficient the rectification. That is, less the ripple factor, more efficient the rectification. So we need to calculate the ripple factor, then only we can measure how efficient the rectification is, or the rectifier is. So the ratio of RMS value of AC component to the DC component in the rectifier output is known as ripple factor. So this can be calculated by the RMS value of AC component to the value of DC component. So how much AC component is contained in the DC output, that will give you this ratio, that is IAC to IDC, that give you the ripple factor. So less the ripple factor, that means more the value of the DC component, less the value of AC component. So that's and so the more efficient the rectification is. Therefore, ripple factor is very important in deciding the effectiveness of the rectifier. The smaller the ripple factor, the lesser the effective AC component, and hence more effective is the rectifier. That's what I discussed now. So we need to calculate the ripple factor. So in general, the ripple factor can be analyzed as follows. That is, the output current of the rectifier contains DC as well as AC, that we already seen. The undesired AC component has a frequency of 100 Hz, that is double the supply frequency 50 Hz, and is called the ripple. It is a fluctuation superimposed on the DC component. So the undesired AC component in the output has a frequency double to that of the supply frequency, and which is known as ripple. It is because it is a fluctuation superimposed on the DC component. Okay, so the definition of effective or RMS value of total load current can be given by IRMS as square root of IDC square plus IAC square. So the root mean square value of current can be given by the square root of the DC current and sum of the square of the DC current and AC current, because it is a combination of DC and AC. Okay, so from this we can measure the IAC as square root of IRMS square minus IDC square, and if we divide this throughout by IDC, we will get IAC by IDC as 1 by IDC and the square root of IRMS square minus IDC square. And IAC by IDC is nothing but the ripple factor by definition. So the ripple factor can be, this left side as ripple factor, which can be written as 1 by IDC into square root of IRMS square minus IDC square, and this can be written in the form like this, that is IRMS by IDC whole square minus 1. That is, this IDC square is taking outside the square root bracket, so this and this will cancel out each other, so this become like this. So this is the general definition for ripple factor. Okay, for any rectifier circuit. This is the general expression for ripple factor, square root of IRMS by IDC whole square minus 1, because the output contain AC and DC components, so the IRMS will give you this value. Now for half wave rectifier, we know that IRMS is Im by 2 and IDC is Im by pi, which we have calculated early in the analysis of efficiency. Okay, so we have got IRMS as Im by 2 and IDC as Im by pi. Substitute these two values here and calculate the ripple factor. So we will get ripple factor as Im by 2 whole square by Am by pi whole square minus 1, and by calculating this value we will get this as 1.21. Here Im is common, which will cancel out each other, than 2 and pi will appear, and if we are calculating this we will get 1.21. So the ripple factor of half wave rectifier is 1.21. It is clear that AC component exceeds the DC component in the output of half wave rectifier. That is why, because this value is greater than 1, which means the numerator is greater than the denominator. Numerator is the AC component value, and that's why it is clear from this expression that AC component exceeds the DC component in the output of half wave rectifier. This results in greater pulsations in the output. Therefore, half wave rectifier is ineffective for conversion of AC into DC. So 1.21 ripple factor is a big value, which implies a greater pulsations in the output. That is, the output DC is very much pulsating in nature, and therefore half wave rectifier is ineffective for the conversion of AC into DC. Okay, so this is about half wave rectifier, its working and its disadvantages, its efficiency and ripple factor. Okay, thank you.